Now Sunday Night Extra with David Elliot.
Hi, I'm Dave Elliot. Thanks so much for joining me. We want you to be informed when you go to the polls Tuesday, June 3rd for primary elections. A Senate race is on the line, and in South Mississippi, we'll be voting in the 4th District congressional race. 2 Democrats, 5 Republicans will be on the congressional ballot. Time to meet GOP challenger Tavish Kelly from Picayune. Thanks so much for joining us, Mr. Kelly. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here, Dave.
First, this isn't going to be a bash the incumbent moment, but I presume you wouldn't be running for office if you were satisfied with the representation you have right now. So where, in your mind, does Congressman Stephen Palazzo fall short?
Well, he falls short in just about every area when it comes to being a conservative and being for the Constitution. I think that this government is only just, has legitimate authority when it gains that authority from the consent of the governed, and that happens through the Constitution. Congressman Palazzo has voted repeatedly for Speaker John Boehner, and John Boehner's been a horrible leader in enforcing constitutional government. We have all these compromised budgets that fund unconstitutional agencies, including Obamacare, that Congressman Palazzo is voting for. He's voted to raise the debt ceiling. He's voted to decrease veterans' benefits. And these are not constitutional, not conservative votes that he's casting.
And you consider yourself a real constitutionalist, if I read everything about
Absolutely.
your background. But the question is, how, besides what you've already mentioned, and you carry around your pocket Constitution, which I have one of those over on my desk, by the way. Where else have we strayed, in your mind, regarding the founders' principles?
Well, they did not envision a federal government that would control its citizens at such a detailed level. When the founders created the United States, what they envisioned were 50, or at the time 13, different states, each of which more or less governed themselves and kept to their own matters, except when it came to national security, really. The federal government existed to make sure that goods were able to flow freely between the states and that the borders were secure, and that's about it.
What would you say to somebody who says it's gone too far? We've gone, if they believe that way, we're already at the edge of the cliff, and about to go over, and there's no turning back.
I think,
even if Tavish Kelly goes to Washington and tries to do that.
Well, I disagree. I think that we do have a chance to turn around, and that requires replacing the leadership in Congress. That's why I want to go there and vote against John Boehner as Speaker. I want to demand a more constitutional and conservative Speaker of the House, and we can do this. We came very close to doing it in 2013. If some congressman like Stephen Palazzo hadn't voted for John Boehner, we could have somebody more conservative today, and that would, place us in control of the budget. That would place us in control of what programs in the federal government get funding, what programs actually can continue.
But are you one of those guys that goes as far as to say, dismantle the EPA, get rid of the Department of Education, we don't need the Department of Energy, all of these other things?
Absolutely. They're unconstitutional. The services they provide are not services that I am against. However, there are proper means to carrying out the government. The Constitution lays out the guidelines by which the federal government must operate, and we have to stay within those, or else we're no better than anybody else who deviates from this path and descends down the path to tyranny.
But at the same time, you say you're for a strong defense.
I am, which is provided for in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution.
So, but if we have $17 trillion in debt, would you say that everything's on the board, including the defense budget, in terms of getting our financial house in order?
There's definitely places in the defense budget where we can cut spending. I'm not going to, that's definitely true. I think the first place we can start is by bringing our troops home to the United States. We stop propping up the defenses of other nations around the world, focus on United States defense.
You're saying the U.S. isn't the world's policeman?
Not at all.
We need to mind our business a little
Absolutely.
bit.
John Quincy Adams said that America does not go in search abroad for monsters to destroy. She is the well-wisher of democracy everywhere, but the champion and vindicator only of her own. And I firmly believe in that.
Okay, we have just a few seconds left. Your first run at public
Absolutely.
office. What are your expectations going into June 3rd?
I think we're going to have a strong turnout for me, for the Constitution. Stephen Palazzo is in the lead right now, so I'm not holding any expectations of an overwhelming victory, but I think it's possible to get into a runoff. That's what I'm aiming at, and I think if we can achieve that, then we have a strong chance of victory in that runoff.
All righty, from Picayune, Tavish Kelly, GOP candidate for Congress in the 4th Congressional District. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dave.
Appreciate it. And remember, we invite you to comment on all of our stories. You can do that on our website, including Facebook. Simply go to WLOX.com and tell us what you think.